All right, we're live. For everyone who is on the replay of this video, this was a live stream that we sat down and talked about Mirrorverse, and you can check. We hope you enjoyed the video. We're waiting on. Well, we're not really waiting, but we'll have some people come in, I'm sure. But my name's Mitch. I'm with DuckTalks, and we just started. I just recently started playing Mirrorverse, and I was having a good time with it. Got a story behind that. My pal Patrick's been playing it, so I thought we would sit down and just have a chat. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I had just to jump into it. So I'd been playing a few mobile games off and on. I really liked. Did you play Avengers Alliance?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man, that game sucked me in, and it just had this constant, ongoing story until it ended, and then it just ended. And so I had a hard time finding something to replace that. And I tried the emoji blitz and bubble popper things and stuff like that, and they're fun, but I lose interest in those. I've got to have something pushing me to play. And so I found oh, it was Disney Heroes. I don't remember exactly what it was called. Something Heroes, and that was a fun game. I played it for a while, and then DSA came out, Disney Sorcerer's Arena, and that game really pulled me in about like a Avengers Alliance, and we created a Duck Talks club in that game, and had a number of people that we talked to on social media playing with us. And that was awesome. There was a community around it. Got really into it, but after a while, that game just it got so repetitive, and it was all about the raids, and the raids really were for people further along. And I just felt like it was slow, and it was always the same. And then also they changed one of the features for I'm trying to remember what they were called, Conquest. They changed Conquest, and instead of it being on the same day, it was on revolving days. And so I was constantly trying, like, oh man, I missed the Conquest because it was a different day. Um, and I hated that because I always felt like I was letting everybody down. And so I'd been trying to keep playing it, but our club was dwindling because people were losing interest. People were going to other clubs because we weren't as active anymore. Josh quit playing on me, and a few other people. I was like, Josh, are you still playing this? I don't want to kick you because it's Duck Talks' club, but we have a rule about 14 days. Which was a really relaxed rule. I mean, 14 days. If you're not playing after 14 days, you've quit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I wasn't playing DSA, and you were into this game because you messaged me, I think in June, and you were like, you should check this out. And I was like, yeah, I remember when that was announced and there's toys and all this. I should check that out. And I didn't. And then I think you've brought it up a couple more times. And then recently, I don't remember what was going on, but you sent a message about, I guess it was, you tweeted at us that you had Baloo and Donald and Scrooge, and that you'd probably be someone fun to play with on that game. And I was like, okay, I got to try this game out. And I'm hooked. I've been playing for 5 days. And I thought, Patrick, let's talk about this game.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
the backstory.
Yeah, man, what can I say about this? Because I was with you for a big part of the Duck Talks ride on the Sorcerer's Adventure, right? I think a big thing in my mind that made that group blow up was March of 2020, and lockdown that just started, and man, what a perfect time to just get sucked into a mobile game. It was that and Animal Crossing. That was March of 2020 for me.
Right.
But I think what ultimately killed that game for me, and I promise we'll get into Mirrorverse and stop dunking on this other game.
It was a great game for a long time.
Yeah, it's great game, great mechanics. For me, it was the PvP aspect, the player versus player. And there was that kind of that you had to keep up with the player base, right? Whoever the newest ones were, the power levels, you had to have parity. And it seemed like there was this pattern to me. I was starting to notice where every time they'd introduce a new group of characters, those characters were insanely powerfully broken. And your choices were either drop cash
Right.
and get those characters, or get wiped out by the same cast of Frozen 20 times over,
Yeah.
until you just kind of paid your dues. So I was off of the mobile game for a long time. And then, Mirrorverse has been a game that they announced a while back. It's been in development for a while. I think it was even released in a few other countries or something before it kind of made its way stateside.
Yeah, I think it was in the Philippines first.
Yeah, and I kind of had it off my radar, and because I thought it was something very similar, even though this art style, and we'll talk more about that later, was very compelling. But for me, it's like, okay, I'd learned that there's no PvP element. This is purely, for the most part, a PvE game, which to me, you play at your own pace. If you want to invest however much, you can do that and get through some of the more grindy aspects of any of these kind of mobile games. Or, if you're in for the long haul and the slow burn, you can do that too. So I appreciated that. And so that's what kind of made me dip my toes back in the water again, was that. And so, I downloaded it, and that was about a month ago, over a month ago. I don't know. Summer's gone really fast around here.
It is. It's flying
June,
by.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in June. It might have been. I'm not sure exactly when in June, but I know it was June.
Yeah. So, and I think the game that instantly kind of pulls a lot of folks in is the style, the aesthetic of the characters, the character designs themselves, are something that is very unique to this game. We've seen large casts of Disney characters coming together in games for a long time now.
Right.
We have seen other media conglomerates recently shove all their characters into games. We have multiverses. We have the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. But I think what makes this different is that these are alternate, almost what if versions of these characters. And that's what makes them kind of stand out from the recent wave of mobile Disney, last 5-10 years, I'd say.
Yeah, when they started showing the models for this game, which was, I guess, when that initial launch trailer came out, might have been the first time we saw them. I can't remember if the toys leaked first or not, but there are toys out there by McFarlane. Is it McFarlane Toys making these? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing the toys and also the models, because I remember seeing Scrooge. Scrooge was the first one where I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And then when we saw Baloo, I was like, what is this game? Because Baloo's just like this big hulking looking figure. And a lot of the models I didn't see until I started playing the game. But a lot of the, like you said, the spin that they've put on the princesses and a lot of the villains and the princesses are really cool in this game as far as the designs. And then there's some characters, like, I'm not afraid to say the Buzz Lightyear scares me. That face, just I feel it when he's looking at the screen. That guy knows I'm there, and he's gonna come get me or something. I don't know. It's weird.
There are varying degrees of how far off the beaten path they stray with some of these characters. And like you said, I think the princesses they went really hard on, in a good way, I should say. Tiana's an alchemist, Belle's a sorcerer, Snow White has a scythe like the Grim Reaper. And the art and the character designs are great. I think the more amazing part is Disney let them do this, which I thought was pretty impressive. There's fun little things implied with some of the character designs. They have bios within the game, and the bios don't really tell you much at all.
Right.
But the characters, I mean, the designs themselves tell a story. You got Baloo on the screen there. He's got a propeller sword and like one of the wheels of his plane as his shield.
So
Kind of
there's a
creative.
dark backstory to the Sea Duck.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite of them is that I unlock Captain Hook, right?
Yeah, it's a
And
cool figure.
he very much looks like Hook, but then you flip the character model around, you realize that the coat he's wearing is alligator skin.
Oh,
It's basically, yeah, he got even pretty well. So there's some neat little touches here and there.
yeah. And then like Stitch, I was really surprised. Stitch doesn't, I mean, the jumpsuit's different, but it's not that different. I feel like that's probably the model that's the closest to what we're familiar with. But they're all really cool. I mean, the Donald just I can't figure out, is that supposed to be an anchor that he's
Yes,
wielding there? I mean, it looks like an anchor.
they
And he's standing on it when you pull his model up in the game, he's standing on it like it's an anchor.
yeah,
I don't have
they
him
did
yet.
a really good job. Side note, before we talk about how great Donald is, me reaching out to you guys at DuckTalks, purely self motivated, by the way. I mean, I like you
Exactly.
guys and your community's great. That being
Uh-huh.
said, there is one way and one way only in which you can unlock Donald Duck and Goofy in this game, and
Right.
that is through this alliance system. And I really wanted both of those characters, and so um, I had to reach out and see what can we get going here. Can we form an alliance and get these characters? For the good of the community, yes, but mainly so
Exactly.
that I can get Donald Duck. That's the driving force.
I think I'm
Um,
500, whatever the currency is. I think I'm 500 away now.
nice. Yeah, we've
So
just
we're
with
eating it up.
just a few, couple folks in the alliance. We're making the currency to get these guys, so it's been a lot
Yeah,
of
and
fun.
we do want to let everybody know the alliance is open right now. How many is it, like a cap of 50? Have you noticed?
I think it's 20.
20. Oh, wow. Okay. So it's capped at 20. There's only a few of us right now, but if you're interested, if you're playing or if you're thinking about playing and you'd like to play with us, look for Glom Gold Industries. And I love that name. That's not me. Patrick did that because Patrick's cool. And check that out. If you can't find it, because that's happened, if you can't find it, find us. I'm in Finorama, just like I dropped the 616 for this. This is an alternate me. It's not the 616 me. Um, but make sure you find me or Patrick. And once you have that friend request, you can find our alliance. So you can do that. And we'd love to have you all play this game with us. We're enjoying it, and we'll work together to unlock the stuff. Donald, Goofy, there's other things. These are the only two characters behind that. It's not really a paywall, but that
Yeah,
requirement for the
that
alliance.
system. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think there's other obviously resources and things you could buy, but those guys are the two main tickets. Um, and back to the design of these characters and why these two are so compelling, besides the fact that they are who they are, is they definitely went out of their way to make sure that these were distinctly different than their Kingdom Hearts variations. You
Yeah, that's
have,
true.
in that game, Donald was the useless healer most times
Yeah.
than not. Goofy was the more of the tank, and in this case, they've kind of flipped the roles a little bit. Donald is your tank base character. Goofy is a ranged kind of archer. He's got this ridiculously large boomerang
Yeah.
that he'll just pull out and wreak havoc. Um, there's in terms of other of the Fab Five, we have you have two others. You have Minnie, who is the DPS damage brawler, which is kind of funny. And then Mickey is the support sorcerer, not Sorcerer's Apprentice, but he's got yet another unique, hat and robe kind of get up. So
Yeah, and I had recorded some gameplay and also gone through all of the characters and got shots for this live stream. but it doesn't work. So I apologize. Maybe on the next one, next time we do this, we'll go through and just look at all the characters or something. We'll do a stream just doing that. One thing I wanted to do, since we're talking about the characters, I'm going to go ahead and let the trailer play in the background. We're not going to have any audio for it, just because we don't want YouTube to be mean. And that way you can kind of see a little bit of this game. If you've not seen the trailer for the game, or if you've not seen the models, you can get an idea beyond just those 3 characters that we looked at. Now, I'm not far enough into this game to know exactly what the story is, but do you actually get like an idea of why things are the way they are? I know in the beginning it tells you they just are different.
There is, as far
without
as
any spoilers.
Yeah, there's kind of just that concept of the first few chapters. This is how the world works in here.
Okay.
And for most folks, if you followed any recent multiverse-based story, movie, whatever, this is going to feel pretty familiar. But you have powerful artifacts. You have villains who are vying to take control of it, and that's all I'll say. But there is a ongoing kind of narrative to it. There's I think they launched with 7 chapters. They just released the 8th chapter,
Okay.
which I have not actually gotten through myself yet. But yeah, there's enough story and dialogue. And again, the story is loose enough to where it's like, okay, it's interesting, but it's probably not going to be the thing that's going to grip most folks. I think what's interesting more than the actual narrative is the interactions between the characters that you get, and it's just written dialogue. There's no audio lines or anything within the game itself, but there's some team ups and character interactions between very different types of characters that makes for fun play. We had, and that also spans into some of the event-based content that the game has. There is, right now you have an event where you have a mishmash of like Wally and Simba and a few other characters. There's no dialogue in it, which I thought was interesting. Prior to that, we had an interesting saga where it was the Frozen characters and the Toy Story characters kind of mixed together. Buzz, Woody, Anna, Elsa. And their interactions were kind of interesting. You had, Buzz doing his captain's log, space log, whatever, and Anna kind of grasped onto that, and she starts doing it. There's just fun little tidbits like that. So.
Yeah, the interactions are great. I'm on the laugh floor, and I'm kind of stuck. I'm going to have to level up quite a bit. I was not putting a lot into my Rapunzel because I had made that choice. And I've got a little side quest for Rapunzel, and I've got to build her up. And then I'm almost done with the laugh floor, and I need just a little bit more to make it. And we've got a few people here in the chat. I just wanted to shout out to Geek Studios. Who says, look, I can do this. There we go. Geek Studio says, huge fan of your shows. Glad I caught it live. Yeah, thanks for coming by. I like the logo. Marvel Studios, Geek Studios. I like it.
Very cool.
Yeah. One of the beginning of this trailer when Scar, I bet I said Jafar. I don't know why. When I first fought Scar, I didn't remember the trailer. And when he kind of sunk down and become that shadow thing, I was like, wait, what's happening? What's going on here? So some of the characters, like you said, the twists on them are really cool.
Yeah. Scar was definitely one where it was, he's very shadow based, and he learned, he can sink into the shadows. And I remember first seeing the character and thinking, well, that's cool. We don't have Simba in the game. Simba should be sort of the flip of that, right? He should be your light-based character. And sure enough, about a week or so ago, they released the event where Simba's in the game, and he's the foil, right? He's got
Yeah.
these kind of light. He looks like a Super Saiyan. Is the best way to describe it. If you know Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z, it's Super Saiyan Simba.
I don't know Dragon Ball Z, but I still get the reference. I know what you're talking about, and it's exactly, because I was going to say it's some kind of anime. It's an anime. I don't know.
Yeah, there's it's something. Yeah, the direction they kind of took to make a character unique, yeah, definitely goes into the play style.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of the characters I use is Oogie Boogie, and it's they have weaponized all of his fun little traits where he's got a shield that is the roulette table,
Mm-hmm.
and they took his trademark dice and threw some spikes on him, and it's now a mace.
Yeah.
So he's terrifying. He also has a vest for some reason. He's very well dressed.
Yeah. And that's an intimidating model that they went with. That's a really cool looking character. He's not in this video, which is getting kind of grainy on me. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it. But the Baymax was a model that I was a little surprised with. Wasn't I don't know. I really like that Big Hero 6 heroic looking Baymax. So anytime I see the pudgy Baymax, I'm like, we had a better model.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against us pudgy guys. I mean, at least we have some representation in the game, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing too, yeah, because Baymax, like he's almost like a hybrid of like his just inflatable self and the armor self. It's kind of like a in between. Is
Yeah.
almost how I describe it. I feel like just the premise of this game, nothing that they've done has indicated this, but just that premise of kind of a multiversal, alternate reality type character does make you think, okay, well maybe they're going to go with a different version. Maybe we're going to get another Baymax sometime soon. Maybe these aren't the only versions of these characters we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. So I found an image on their website of the Simba, but even this image, it's not quite like what you get on the home screen. His hair's sticking up a little bit more in the home screen. Um, but yeah, the events are looking pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the game when you first get started, because I'm sure there's some people who are going to watch this. I told people in the DSA, in the club, I was like, sorry, I've really not been playing this. I've kind of got into this other game, and there's an alliance if you want to come join. And I'm going live. We're going to be live this evening if you want to come check it out and check out the game. So for those who are interested, considering the game, just to talk about how things kind of start, not the storyline. We're not going to spoil that any, but the mechanics of the game and how you start. Everybody gets the same team but one person. And the way they do that is you start off with the Rapunzel, and you start off the game, and she's a melee character. Really good. From what I understand, she does really well in the beginning of the game. I've heard she kind of falls off a little bit later in the game, and it's not that she's a bad character to play with. It's just there's better characters, or there's more synergy with some of the other characters is the issue. So that was why I decided to not put a lot into her. And I picked up Aladdin, which I understand is the same way. Aladdin doesn't play very far into the game, from what I hear. I don't know. I've not experienced it. 5 days in, I think I'm on the third chapter. But after Rapunzel, that's when you get the choice of a character, right? You get the choice crystal.
I think that's
And when the
right.
choice, yeah, so when the choice crystal comes, you're trying to remember from June. I'm just got 5 days and I'm struggling. The choice crystal, you can either choose Hercules, Mulan, or Ariel. And I chose Hercules. Who did you choose? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I went Hercules.
Okay. I've heard Ariel's the top pick there. I don't know if
Mm.
that's true, but I've heard Ariel's really great all the way through, however far people are getting. they're still playing with Ariel. So missed out on that one. So I told my daughter when she started playing it, just take Ariel, get Ariel, which that's the one she wanted anyway. But so you get the choice there between those three. It doesn't really change the story, I don't believe, which we can't compare. But from what I hear, I don't think it changes the story. It will change your character interactions because you know what? I don't know that Hercules did interact in the beginning. Anyway,
Yeah.
next you get Merida, and so you've got a melee, another melee because Hercules, Mulan, and Ariel are all, aren't they? I think
Yeah,
so.
they're all kind of that attack class.
Yeah. And then so then you get Merida, who is a range class. And my favorite character to play with currently, I just like spamming that button. And you can take it if you don't want to. I don't want to say it that way. If you like just kind of sitting in the back and throwing arrows and destroying bad guys, it's an easy way to cruise through some of the levels. And also the characters, you have a more powerful, like you have your normal attack, and then you have a more powerful attack, and then you get a special. The special has to build up. So that's your range, and then a little bit later, you pick up Sully from Monsters Inc., and that's your tank. So the game you get to play in the beginning, you only have one person to play with on a level, and then you eventually get two, and then you unlock three. So the game progresses. You only go up to three. There's no going beyond three. And so a basic team for this game is going to most likely be, and you tell me if you play differently, a tank, we didn't talk about not a healer, but a support. That's what it's called, a support.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually get support characters, and most of them I hear are behind paywalls. I have one that I broke a paywall to get. I don't think I told you that. So, because I think you asked me, and I don't remember what I said, but I was like, I'm going to wait and tell him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No. Yeah, there's an interesting mechanic in this game in that they've kind of deliberately made the choice of three-player parties, three character teams, but there are four classes. So, yeah, there's kind of, I think it's pretty adaptable in terms of play style. I think that once you get into later levels of the game, you kind of experiment a little bit more with team dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
I ran a team that was a tank and two ranged, and that played pretty well for a few things. Some of there's level or kind of variations of things, content where called dungeons, where your kind of health and status is kind of carry over from battle to battle until you reach the end of this thing, kind of like a gauntlet type thing. And in those cases, having that support class is killer. You have to have a healer, or else you're gonna be struggling near the end. And it's not to say that the support cast is solely healers. They buff their teams in all sorts of ways. You have Jack Sparrow cleanse cure curses. He's the debuffer.
Yeah.
Any bad things that go your way, he wipes them clean. Hero is kind of more of he buffs the team with different attacks and things, and is also a pretty good healer. So they all have their own kind of take on what it means to be a support character.
Yeah, I've been playing mainly with a range, a support, and a tank, and it's been working out pretty good. Like I said, though, I have gotten to a place where I'm having to go back. And one of the things about this game that I found odd is that in the story mode, the chapters, you can't go back and farm from the chapters because you don't continue to gain the motes that you need to upgrade your characters. So there are other ways to play the game. There are other, what am I looking for here? There are other modes in the game to do that. And it took me a little while to figure out what I was doing wrong because I was replaying some of the levels and I was like, I'm not getting anything. But we
Yeah,
learned.
yeah. No, that's you kind of. I will say one thing I do remember from back when I started in June was that this game doesn't the intro and kind of that any mobile game you start it's very linear at first, and it's deliberately because the game designers want you to know every system, every level of currency, every game mode, and so it's like click here, click here, click here, and you desperately want to do something else, but you got to follow through their tutorial. This game
Right.
has a little bit of that, but it's not as much as a lot. It kind of there's a certain point where they kind of just drop you off and say, "Yeah, you'll figure it out."
Yeah.
And some of that's because it does follow a lot of the same patterns of other mobile games, for better or for worse. But yeah, there's the story mode's very kind of one and done in terms of you don't research farm. You have an area where you kind of I don't remember exactly what it's called. It might actually be called resource farming or supply
It is
runs or
something like that.
something. Yeah, it's pretty on the nose, but helps you get it done. I'm trying to think. Then there's events, and then there's the dungeon mode, which is kind of a more endurance based
Yeah, the
gauntlet
dungeon
type
modes are
thing.
fun.
Yeah.
I was trying to pull up. I was going to see what it is, because what happens is as you're playing, the new modes will open up and it'll take you to that screen and show you that it's now available. And what you should probably do is go try it, and then you'll pick up. It's called supply runs, and that is
There
where
we
you
go.
farm. You farm by supply runs, and it's really a nice system because you can choose the type of character that you're working on, whether it be a tank or support or range, and then you just work on farming those. Now you're going to use up your energy. You've got a set amount of energy. The more you play, the more energy you have available. Energy builds up. I think is it one every 5 minutes or five every 1 minute or something? It's something like
It's
that.
around that ballpark. So not like the most generous of mobile games,
Yeah.
but it um it's offset every time you level up. You get a full tank of energy, and you level up a fair
Yep.
share. So
Yeah, you do. And then also diamonds are used when you're doing the upgrades, and gold ends up being a little bit of a bottleneck, so you can farm gold in here as well. So it's nice. You go to these areas, and instead of in other games, instead of going back to that one level that you beat, and you have a chance for this and a chance for that and a chance for this on that level, and you either play it or auto it and then see what you got. Instead of that, you go to these places and you just get what you're working on. So that's nice. I think some of them, do they have ranges where because there's different levels and they jump big. So like on the first one on 1-1, um, you get 12 of the melee motes, and that's for levels 1 through 20. Now 1-2 completely changes to the level 2, so that's like the 21 to 100. And then when you get to 1-3, it goes on up. But the requirement there in the level for your characters, it jumps crazy. So like level 2's 2000, no, it's 600. Level 2 600, and then level 3 goes up to, let's see. This is captivating. 2200. So you go from 600 to 2200. You're going to be working on level 1 or level 2 for a while before you get to go to
right.
level 3.
The and part of that system of why those are such steep power increases is that when you get to a point in the game, it becomes, and I've heard people refer to it as sort of a pyramid level of powering your characters. Uh, for example, I just got a character to level 50, and to kind of get to that next tier of things I can level up, I have to have 2 range characters at level 30, and then it kind of increases from there. So you're kind of you level your kind of your main person up within a class,
Right.
but to get them to go a little bit further, you have to kind of raise some other people up as well. So I got, Zurg was the one I got up to level 50. If I want to get him a little further, I got to, get some other range guys. I'm working on Eve from Wally, getting her up, and the creepy Soulless Buzz up as well. So and so you're not, you have your kind of your main characters, obviously, that you're kind of your A team, but you're also, when you unlock new characters and you think, oh, I'm never using this, you end up doing, you're using them to support those characters. There's also an event called, or a play mode called Towers, and Towers, you have to have specific kinds of characters to progress through a tower. And those aren't the class-based specifications. These are more royalty-based characters and different attributes like that, or seafaring characters. Yeah, there's villains, tech characters. If we add maybe one or two more, we could have a category that's solely the Rock characters. We have two in here with Maui and his Jungle Cruise guy.
Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
Who's got a cool model.
Yeah.
Speaking of Buzz, Soulless Buzz, there he is.
Yeah, this is interesting because it's wild to me. This game came out right in June. Which is the exact time Lightyear comes out. So we have in theaters an alternate version of Buzz. And in this game, here's the alternate version of Buzz.
They put his face so high, and I realized that for the toy, his face is high, but I feel like in this model it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I'm sure somebody loves it. And you know what? Somebody worked on this and you did a fabulous job. I'm just a jerk for criticizing your work. It just caught me off guard.
There are characters, I'll say this, based solely off kind of their static models or their portrait. Oh, see, he's got the Groot arm. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could get rid of this here. I can't seem to get rid of. Oh, it wants to go. Yeah, you get all kinds of information on these characters here. But that will not go down.
There are characters here, and it's like you can look at their model and look at their portrait, and like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And then once you see them in combat, they have some other, form to them. Like Anger there, if you click on him, he looks cool, but he's kind of the idol. Like he does the whole Human Torch flame on thing when it's time for battle. Hero is another example. He's a character who he's got some sleek new armor, I guess. It's still very much him, but when he goes into battle,
this one really caught me off guard. The Tinkerbell.
Yes.
She's massive, but there's a little Tinkerbell. I didn't notice it in the beginning. There's a little Tinkerbell there as well, and so something about the power. She's like projecting this larger version.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. She's like a weird hologram projection of herself. And
look at this guy.
Yeah, no one talks about Buzz because I remember when this came out, people were like, wow, Woody's kind of a hunk. But yeah.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of the furthest they've strayed from the original character model. And he's got the duster. I mean, you can see if you peek, he's still got his yellow striped shirt, and
it's right there, about his midriff. Yeah, he's a little bit of a McCree here.
Yeah,
for the Overwatch fans.
And again, he like wow, he looks intimidating, and then it's great because you see him in action in the game, and he runs just like the Toy Story character.
Oh my! Does he shoot a snake out of his boot?
That I've not seen, but yeah, he's kind of got he got the floppy arms going when he's
that's great,
running across.
Now a really cool model is Zurg, and this is like Megatron Zurg. I really wish this was in the way.
His event just ended for this one, and again, it was weird because we had the Lightyear Zurg, and now this other version of Zurg. There's a whole, you look at the lore, and they had to give a little bit of the story too. This Zurg is like, they call him Zurg Prime because he defeated and absorbed all the other Zergs in other timelines and universes, and he
Okay.
incorporated them into his armor. So yeah, he's awesome. He's another one that I use him where you just sit back and you just hold the Gatling gun down and you just kind of oddly satisfying, just kind of mowing through the competition.
And he was like that on DSA as well. Just a really powerful characters. Let's talk about, we talked about the princesses. Let's talk about how they're winning in this game, because they have some very cool designs. Let's see here. It's not wanting to scroll for me. So there was a image. Oh, I hit story. That's how I got there. All right. So we'll hit story and we'll scroll down. Not so fast. Oh, we don't get all of it. Okay. But yeah, they have some very cool designs, very elaborate armor and weapons too. Because with Snow White, I'm trying to remember what she has, but she just like comes in. It's like full Capcom type video game character, like a Street Fighter. She just comes in with that weapon. It might be an axe. Is it an axe?
Like yeah, I always thought it was
double-sided axe,
but an axe makes sense, you know, given the story.
Because the huntsman. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna have to step away. The dog is upset because his bowl is empty, and everybody's gonna hear it if I don't go put some food in there. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. So let's see. I guess I could talk, fill the void, if you will. So yeah, Snow White was pretty cool. Evil Queen has a, you know, it's on par for her kind of character. She shoots apples at people, but looks cool. Anna, you can see there. She was the character that they had in an event, so she's kind of comes and goes. They just said screw it. She has armor, sword, shield. She's just straight up and evil. There's I think
interesting choice here.
Yeah, it feels like a hybrid of classic and legacy Trons. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool. And let's see, yeah. Yeah, cool. Was it the Anna? Yeah, they said, and you can see it kind of in her armor, the ornamentation is, you know, in this version, Elsa got ice, and then Anna basically got every other elemental force that she gets to use. So, you know, it's a fun little payback for her.
There we go. That's the one from the screen, the home screen. Look at all of that mane.
Yeah, that's pretty wild stuff.
And Wally's kind of bulky in this as well. And I was trying to figure out the first time that I was looking at the character model, I was trying to figure out what was on his back. And it's his it's like solar panels is what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, the Wally character's pretty cool.
And then there's that hero. It's just a slight variation. Mr. Incredible's a pretty big change.
Yeah.
And I hear he's the tank to get.
Oh, okay.
I hear that his special ability is got a huge knockback, and it's supposed to be like the best. That's what everybody's saying anyway. I have watched a few videos and stuff to try and figure out, because one of the mistakes I made in DSA is I went really wide, and I was just throwing stuff at different characters. And then later in the game, I realized you really shouldn't do that. You should try to focus on a team and then maybe branch out, because in that game, you did need other teams. Like you said, the Frozen team come along, and that's all you needed. But with this game, from what I understand, the synergy between the characters is very important, and trying to build out teams that are going to work together to take care of the fractured, which are our villains. We've not talked about the fractured yet.
Right.
We've not even talked about who you're battling here. We just said that they fight.
That's true.
You're not fighting other heroes or villains. You're fighting both, but they're fractured versions of them, which are, I haven't gotten far enough to have the full story, but they just showed up. And some of them are Are they based on any character, like because there's some that have taken on the form of the heroes and villains, but then there's others, they kind of remind me of characters that I can't place, but are they new models from what you can tell?
Yeah, so there's kind of a generic minion class you fight that feel kind of reminiscent of like Maleficent's goons from Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, they basically the boss at the end of every level is a dark version of a character you see here. Um, Obviously, the game developers are playing smart. They put a lot of time and effort into these characters and their mechanics. So you're going to be fighting them too. Though they are, their appearance, it's a dark reflection because they really play off this mirror theme. They come out and they are kind of you can see color palette wise, everything's very purple. Their versions, it's these
The
fractured versions. Yeah, it comes out very purple, but they have like, kind of a mean expression. They have like white hair. Some of them are like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And some of them look downright terrifying when they come out of that portal at the end. Again, depending on who, you don't expect, like a Baymax to come out with like a murder face and be like, I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah.
I think the one that scared me, or like one that was the most disturbing, is that Simba model. When it comes out as a fractured, it looks like it fell into the same vat of acid that the Joker did. He just looks terrifying with that kind of color palette and expression change. And
I don't think I've seen him yet. I've only faced Scar. I can tell you this: someone is a Gaston stan on this game, because he got a model for sure.
Oh yeah. It's funny because you think the characters they pull from different movies and games. It's it's you kind of have your okay, we're gonna get Hercules from Hercules and Hades, and it's like, who do we pull from Beauty and the Beast? It's like, well, Belle and not Beast but Gaston. So I do love that. Yeah,
they've got to be holding back Beast. I know DSA did that. You hold Beast and then make that a whole big addition to the game. Here, we've talked about Baloo. Let's bring up. I really wish I could move this. This is frustrating me. But you can see that propeller going right there, and that's what he uses as a sword. And on this hand, this shield is actually a wheel. And you see other pieces. It looks like he's put together his armor from the Sea Duck. Rest in peace, Sea Duck. But I'm looking forward to playing with this character. Now, I've heard mixed reactions on Baloo. What are your initial thoughts playing with him?
I've played a limited amount of time with him, but he's I don't know. He seems to absorb a lot of damage, and he has a nice kind of area of effect attack that builds up over time. He's one of those characters, and you see this mechanic kind of over several characters where you get that special attack and it's got a cooldown limit, and you can fire it off right away, or you can let it charge a little bit more over time and it becomes more powerful. In Baloo's case, it's a cargo drop. So, when that power comes, it's like, yeah, you could hit his kind of ultimate and a couple crates come falling from the sky. Or you kind of let it charge up a little bit and it just starts raining down crates upon people. So it's kind of, risk reward type character.
So the special charges beyond, like, its build up and then it charges beyond that?
Depending on the character. In Baloo's case,
Baloo,
he gets additional charges for or characters can get additional charges for taking damage, for doing heavy attacks, a variety of different things.
All right, I hadn't seen that mechanic yet. I'm looking forward to that. There's Donald in his armor. the dog is going to be a problem here.
Oh no.
He's a puppy, and so he's got his favorite toy to maul, and he's running around underneath me.
I feel like he needs
toy.
to make an appearance.
Well, we can try. Come here, pup. He's been on DuckTalks before. He's got to run now. So run away.
Okay.
He's like, I'm busy. I'm doing my thing. You're not paying any attention to me, so I'm going to do my thing. Ariel, cool. Very cool. Oh, here's the Mini. Oh, Genie's a cool model. It's very well. Just get the top of Mini. It's a very cool model. I promise.
Fire-based punches are kind of her thing.
Yeah, I've came across fighting fractures of Minnie and Mickey on something already in this game. Let's see here. Let me pull these up. This one is the movie that I can't get to work. I've got to figure this out. I would really like to play while we're live streaming. If we do, like, we're thinking about doing some updates for the game and stuff in the future. And while I'm doing that, I'd like to be able to play. I thought I could AirPlay to my Mac, but for some reason I can't get that option to come up. So I'm going to troubleshoot that. But here's Donald and Scrooge. You got a really good, here it is. There's a really good picture of them. You see Scrooge's model. At first, it really bugged me, this line coming off to his gloves, but then it makes sense with his gameplay. I get it. But otherwise, and he's got a jetpack on that but he doesn't fly. I mean, it looks like a jetpack. I mean, it's got exhaust on the back. It obviously it does something else, but it really looks kind of like the Rocketeer's jetpack.
Yeah.
But it's been a fun game. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping some more people will come play with us. We'll have, and you know, this is something we're coming here at the end of the live stream, playing this game, doing live streams about games, something DuckTalks has talked about doing for a long time. And you know, if it's something that you're into and you'd like to see more of these, definitely comment down below and let us know. The channel, we put out a podcast on the regular. Patrick's been on our podcast before. We talked about wrestling.
Yeah, I got to be on the wrestling episode.
We were talking about that episode of DuckTales, and Pirate was like, Patrick loves wrestling. I was like, okay, just talk to Patrick. Let's have Patrick on. And so that was a fun episode. But yeah, the podcast, we normally cover various Disney stuff. We've not really covered games. It's always been like a little segment on our show, but we're trying to focus a little more on YouTube. If this is something that you're into, like I said, comment down below. Subscribe. There's a bell there. You'll get notifications the next time we go live for whatever reason. You'll be made aware. Patrick, thank you for coming and talking about this game with me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you for telling me about this game and making sure I didn't forget about it, because you kept telling me about it.
Yeah, and one last plug for the whole game. Join this alliance so that we can all get Donald and Goofy. Dang it.
Yeah. Glomgold Industries. And I've got this for you, Patrick. New Paradox Monkey says, that podcast made me appreciate wrestling.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun. It's a fun episode of DuckTales, and it was a fun episode of DuckTalks. If you want to go back, for anyone who's catching this, we have almost all of our library of podcast episodes up on YouTube, so you can check them out on this channel. And yeah, that's all I've got. You can, like I said, follow us. We're on Twitter. You can check out DuckTalks on Twitter, and Post It Pat is on Twitter as well. Yeah.
Right on.
And any final words? Anything else?
I think you said it all. Appreciate it.
All right.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. It has. All right. So that's going to be it. Until next time, we'll see you.